So Donald Trump just boosted a completely made-up quote from one of his former professors on Truth Social, and I want to debunk the quote, and I also want to play a few clips of Joe Biden's speech today just to highlight the differences between the two candidates running for office in 2024. So Donald Trump retruthed, a really dumb word, he retruthed this post on Truth Social that says, Donald Trump was the smartest student I ever had, according to William T. Kelly, former Wharton professor. But it didn't take that much digging to find the real quote. What he actually said is, Donald Trump was the dumbest goddamn student I ever had. And the source for this is someone who knew Professor Kelly personally. It reads, Professor Kelly told me 100 times over 3 decades that Donald Trump was the dumbest goddamn student I ever had. I remember his emphasis and inflection. It went like this. Donald Trump was the dumbest goddamn student I ever had. Dr. Kelly told me this after Trump had become a celebrity, but long before he was considered a political figure. Dr. Kelly often referred to Trump's arrogance when he told of this. That Trump came to Wharton thinking he already knew everything. That perfectly encapsulates who Trump is as a person. We've seen time and time again that rather than deferring to experts around him, Donald Trump will just BS and go with whatever comes to his mind first. Remember when he was standing next to Fauci and he said, like, why don't we just inject bleach into our veins? When it came to the COVID crisis, when it came to economics, when it came to foreign affairs, over and over again we saw that he would go with his instinct, his very underdeveloped instincts, rather than actually deferring to experts. Twitter user Black Knight 10K said, that man even falsified the statements from his professor. Everything he does is fraud, which is absolutely true. Over and over again we've seen him falsify business documents, lie about how much his properties are worth. When he was the president, he lied every single day. I want to play you this clip of Joe Biden dissecting Donald Trump's Time interview, and then we can compare them after.
And the same interview, my predecessor vowed to use the U.S. military to deport 11 million people here in America. He says shouldn't be here. Going to use the military to deport 11 million people in America. He calls immigrants rapists and murderers. He said they are not people. He said the immigrants are poisoning the blood of our country. He wants to bring back cruel and inhumane family separation policies that rip children from their parents at the border. Folks, that's not who we are. That's not America. My administration has reunited 700 of those families and is still looking. Families belong together, folks, not separated.
The more I listen to Joe Biden, the more I realize he is just genuinely a good dude. He said, families belong together. It's ironic that Republicans try to act like the party of family values when they literally look up to a guy who runs through porn stars like there's no tomorrow, who cheats on his wife with porn stars, who invites a porn star over, then says, oh, don't worry about my wife, we don't even sleep in the same bed, while his wife was pregnant with his child. We compared that to Joe Biden, who has genuinely been through loss in his life. I mean, he lost his first wife, he has lost multiple kids, he even lost Beau Biden just a few years back. This is a man who understands what loss feels like and has empathy. I don't think Donald Trump has a shred of empathy in his entire body. Which is why it makes me extra mad when people say, oh, both sides are effectively the same, which I think in a roundabout way just downplays Trump's actions. I hear this a lot from people that are around my age that barely pay attention to politics. They say, oh, both sides are corrupt, implying that Joe Biden is just as corrupt as Donald Trump. Donald Trump genuinely tried to overthrow a U.S. election in a dozen different ways. Not only did he hold a rally while they were certifying the election results, but the days leading up to the rally, he made phone calls to different election officials across the country and said, find me votes. And the months leading up to the rally, the months leading up to the election, he already said there was widespread, unprecedented election fraud before the election even took place. This is someone who is a genuine danger to American democracy. Compare him to boring old Joe Biden, who just does things how they're supposed to be done and is actually an excellent president. He's the negotiator Donald Trump wishes he could be. So when people say that both sides are effectively the same, they don't know what they're talking about. When people my age say that, they're usually looking at it through the lens of foreign policy. They don't like how Joe Biden has handled the situation in Gaza and the war in Israel. But what I say is, do you really think this one issue should supersede supersede all of these domestic issues that we've been working so hard to fix. If you think about things like climate change, Joe Biden passed a massive climate change bill. Donald Trump stripped EPA protections. If you think about abortion, Donald Trump appointed the Supreme Court justices that directly led to Roe v. Wade being overturned. Joe Biden is very, very pro-choice. I mean, Donald Trump even passed a Muslim ban his first week in office. This affected my family personally. Joe Biden removed that Muslim ban within his first few weeks in office. Joe Biden creates more high-paying union jobs. He expands people's access to health care. Donald Trump tried to repeal the ACA without a backup health care plan, effectively stripping health care away from millions of Americans. He kept saying, oh, the plan is coming in 2 weeks, in 2 weeks. This is somebody who does not know how the government works. He has no respect for norms, and if he gets back into office and they enact Project 2025, I genuinely think our country will not get over it for decades to come. Meanwhile, Joe Biden, again, boring old establishment Joe Biden, is boring for a reason, because that is good. That is how we protect our democracy and our norms. That is how we get stuff passed slowly. Joe Biden's not promising some radical overthrow of our system like Donald Trump is, or like someone like Bernie Sanders is, even though I love Bernie Sanders. I'm just saying Joe Biden has a steady hand and knows how to get things done. But you guys know all this already. Either way, if you agree with the little rant I just went on, make sure you leave a like on this video. Make sure you comment a blue heart if you made it this far. Subscribe, share it. Most importantly, have a great rest of your day, everyone.